Splice Originals.
Alright, so here is the axe that I have today. And we're going to do this side of this axe. The first side has already been engraved. And let me see. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. This is one I started a while back, just practicing with. And yes, it's blue. Non-MOPA blue, and it's been sitting down here in the basement and hasn't rusted yet, so it's holding up pretty well. Over the magnets, but underneath the axe head so that I can see the outline, make it easier to trace. And then I measured the axe head from right to left to get the widest point and wrote down that measurement. So it was 135 millimeters. And I put the ruler on the screen just in case. Nope, I have not moved. I'm still sitting. Not that fast. Anyway, we know that that is 135 millimeters from let's see, this side to this side. So what we need to do is get this image down to 135 millimeters. Let's see. One way to do this is we can just draw a box. And of course, for some reason, this is the end point. And I'm just going to do new. Get rid of the box. All right, I'm just going to paste this into the new document. So now we see how many millimeters that image is measuring, and it's really, really big. Start bringing that into size. I just typed in a random value of 100 millimeters for the whole image just to give us some place. So what I like to do is draw a box. We want it to be about 135 millimeters wide. I'm not worried about the height at this point. Oops, don't need two boxes. So we're pretty close on scale there. And we can always adjust our image to make it the approximate size we need. Just want to show you, there's many different ways to do this, but this is an easy way just to make a quick measurement of your image, so you know that you've got that approximately the right size. So when you import the artwork into Lightburn or EasyCAD, it should be pretty darn close, especially if you're doing an outline around your artwork and you're going to frame in the border of the axe head. won't be worried about DPI because this is all going to be vector art. I'm just using the image to get a trace so I can make an outline of vector art. So right now I have the image at, let's see. Oops. The mouse is a little touchy. All right. So the width of this box is pretty close to the width that we need for that axe head. So that means that our scale should be correct. 135.5 is the width on the box. You can always fine-tune by the box, making don't make the box smaller. Make your image smaller or larger to make it the exact size of that box there. Is that making sense? If we look at it now, like that image is just a little bit too short. So a little bit longer, a little wider. And our axe head outline will measure 135 millimeters wide. So now that our image is the correct size and we want to lock it in place, so you can go to your layers, double click, then click your template box. That'll use the first layer as a template. It'll dim the image. I normally like 75%. That way I can still see it to make a good outline. There should not be. Okay, I got you. Let's see. All right, we'll try this and see how that sounds. Hopefully that'll fix it. All right, very good. I just switched it to a camera and back. I could bring it into Lightburn and trace the image, but I like to do these traces by hand. If you have ever tried to trace a Glock frame or any other oddball image like that, that's kind of tricky. And I've just been tracing by hand for a long time, and I just prefer it that way. Because if you're going to trace an axe head, put it on a white background, you should get a pretty good trace out of it. I've used Lightburn to trace spokes, not spokes, let's see, yeah, gears and sprockets. That's the word I was looking for. I've used Lightburn to trace sprockets by painting them black and then putting them on a white background. But for a more exact trace, I like to hand trace them. And then what was the other question? No, I will not engrave on this sharpening run. That's whether you're going to engrave on it or not, it's irrelevant. What we're just looking for is to make sure our image is to scale, is the exact scale, and then we're going to hand trace it so we can pretty much cut it off wherever we want to. All right, and where was I at? Let's see, still have Illustrator up. Got that. We just made our template. Yep, just made a template. So then, once you have layer 1 set as a template, what we need to do is create a second layer. So just new layer, just a regular layer. Defaults are fine, and then we can start drawing our trace and do that using the curvature tool. I gave a little demo of this last week. But if you're not familiar with the curve tool, you can use it for curves and for straight lines, and it just makes outlining these curved surfaces so much easier. I'm going to go ahead and start tracing this. We can zoom in, and you can make this as exact or so we're back to black. Make it blacker. And the curve tool, like I said, gets pretty intuitive. So all you have to do is just practice with it. So with the curve tool, if we were going to start down the curve of the blade, it's going to get these funky shapes up here. You can anchor this point so that it doesn't curve just by double clicking, and then you'll get a 90 degree or whatever degree you want, but it's locked there, so it's not going to create the curved line. Let's see. Let's say we're going to take the outline to about here so we don't hit the edge of the blade. Odds are it is tempered in this area. For this little X will be fine. Then what I normally do is just eyeball it and try to keep my approximately the same width from the edge of the blade to your line. Normally that does pretty well. And then down here again, lock that in, we're going to get some crazy curves. So double click, lock it in place, and just continue along your line. So a lot of times these tight turns, like here in the corner, it just doesn't want to quite line up. So I'll end up double clicking and kind of seeing if I can use that to get a nice curve, or try to adjust this point here. If you click it and drag it, you can adjust your anchor point location, and that's going to adjust how the curve that it draws will, the radius of the curve. So sometimes just a little adjustment of the anchor point, you get a much better curve. See, that took it out wider there. So we can just bring that back in and bring this one back in. Let's see how that looks. It looks better. that's not a very good area there. So just by clicking on the path, you can add an anchor point. Then if you need to, you can drag that around. That makes it a little bit better. See if we want to drag that, then we can adjust that. Then once you have that basic outline, you can go in with your direct selection tool and adjust these. Use the handle to adjust like you would. Outline is copy it and paste it to the side. That way if I mess it up, then I've got a spare copy off to the side. Ideally, you'd want to create a new document and have your outline saved in a totally new document. But I won't do that at this point. All right, so this is the question everybody has. How do you make a clipping mask? Because that seems to be the issue that most people have with creating this type of artwork. Or preparing it to head your laser. So to cut this flag to the size of this outline, you have to make a clipping mask. So it's probably my internet is being slow. Everything looks good on OBS. YouTube's giving me bitrate warnings. You can see that right there. Let's see. Look at something real quick. Outline, then your artwork. Right click. Clipping mask. So you say that the top object is very complex. It may cause it to fail. So then we clicked it and nothing happened. We just got this crazy outline. Guesses as to why that would happen in chat? Pretty much whatever you're going to mask with your outline, you have to make sure that it is expanded and ready to go. So we want to let's expand that so it's expanded and ready to go. Then we want to make sure that the object that we want to make the mask out of is on the top. In this case, it is not. So what we can do is edit, copy, edit, paste, paste in front. Then we should have our mask in the outline in front. Then our second object, and then make clipping mask, and there we go. So make sure your outline is on the top, it's brought to the front, and then you should end up with a nice mask. Any questions from anybody? Right. Show you another quick example. I'm going to Control Z to go back to where I was, and say we have our top object there, and we also have, let's say there's already a little engraving on this axe, and we didn't want to go over top of it. We'll say it was a little rectangle. we'll have our little rectangle. If we say, we can put it in anywhere about here. Let's move our flag over there. All right, and then let's grab our outlines, edit, copy, then edit, paste in front to make sure these two are on top. And then we will grab the first outline and then our artwork and make our clipping mask. So how do we get this to cut out? Let's see. We can't make a compound path because the one already has a clipping mask in it. We can group it, but that doesn't work either. So what we need to do beforehand is take our paths before we make the clipping mask and make those a compound path. Then select the artwork and make the clipping mask. So now you have your clipping mask, and by making the compound path before you make the mask, you can cut out whatever shape you want to in the artwork. Does that make sense? Alright, so I'll just undo that, move this back over. Let's see, I think I undid that stuff, so I'm going to do copy and paste in front and select the artwork, make the mask again. So there we go. And then I always follow these steps. Once I have a clipping mask, first thing is to expand it. Hopefully. Object, expand. So there's our clipping mask. And if you want an outline, there's why you make copy and paste your outline in front. That's what you use to make your clipping mask. So think of it as a cookie cutter that's disposable in this case, and then your outline that's behind ends up becoming your border for your axe head when you finally import it into your software. We'll end up expanding everything. All right, now move stuff around so you got just out of alignment. That fixes that. Lost track of where I was. All right, now I'm going to expand. I just grabbed everything and expanded it and expand just to make sure. Once you expand, go to your Pathfinder, merge all those expanded vectors together. And I always click it twice because you saw, since I had the two different vectors, the outline and the artwork inside of it, merged twice, brought all those together. So now we just have one piece of artwork there. So once it is expanded and merged, I just grab the magic wand. Normally I will just select the black and then select inverse and delete. And then that gets rid of all of the white space and extra lines that didn't have color associated with them. Just have the one piece of artwork left, and if everything went correctly, you should be able to go to the Pathfinder Unite and click that, and you should not see any changes on your artwork. So if I click Unite, nothing happens. So that means it's good to go. We don't have any duplicates. We don't have any white space. But you'll also see that we did lose our outline whenever we did the select inverse and delete. And of course, we didn't save a copy of it. So what I'm trying to tell you is make sure you save copies of your outline, or do not work on your original. Create a new document first. Because the outline, especially if you have EasyCAD, you want to save a copy of that outline so you can use it for framing. With Lightburn, we don't necessarily have to have it. Sometimes they are useful, especially if you have a complex image that has a little cutout, a little window that you do not want to be engraved. You want to make sure everything's lined up perfect. But this is good enough for now for us. And for Lightburn that will be coming out, we do not need Illustrator 8 or any special format. All right. I just thought of another reason you need to have that outline. If you have an axe like this particular model that has the powder coat coating, or one that's painted, and you want to remove that, you can use your laser to remove it. Just use your outline. You can run that to remove, whether it be powder coat you're trying to remove, paint. I would probably use paint thinner or paint remover to take that off first, as much as possible. Rust, odd defects in the metal, you can try to clean it up with your laser first. For this one, I'm just going to run it with the black there. Leave it the way it is. So let's import desktop, and we'll get that. All right, so there's our artwork imported into Lightburn. We'll get that centered up. And really, there's not going to be anything special we have to do. Line up and burn it. So let's get it lined up first. First thing you'll want to do is try to make sure the axe is level, which is always a problem because they're always curved. You're just not going to have a block of metal and have edge on it, or edge sharpened on it. So I kind of rough it into place before I frame it and get into final position, just so I can get a rough estimate of what I'm going to need to get it leveled up. That's looking pretty good right there. Yeah, so that's level both ways the way it's sitting now. So I can go to Lightburn and start framing it. Once I get this put into focus. All right, cool thing about Lightburn is in the frame mode, you're not going to see that. Let's see. All right, switch that over. All right. Lightburn has framing mode that will allow you to just frame the outside shapes. So by just framing the outside shapes, we eliminate the need to have an outline to get our axe head lined up. So let me show you that. Making sure that the image we started with is the appropriate size. That's not perfect because the axe is not currently level. All right, I'm going to leave it there, and that looks pretty good. All right, so it's framed, it's level, it's where it needs to be. Now we'll go back into Lightburn and we can work on our settings. Which I already have settings that I'm going to use, which are I'm just going to run a one-click engrave by using the multi-hatch settings now available in the Lightburn. So I'm going to do an engrave. Then I'm going to do, see, the deep engrave I'm going to run, which would be the equivalent of snake in EasyCAD, flood fill and Lightburn. So it's going to be a bi-directional flood fill, fill in shapes individually. Then I will run what I like to call a deep pass. It runs fast, moderate power, about the same frequency. Also bi-directional crosshatched. However, it is filling the groups together and not doing a flood fill. Then I'll run my standard cleanup pass, which is 3000 speed, 42 power, 45. And the difference from deep engrave and the deep cleans is those are at 0.025, this is at 0.05. And again, it's filling together. Then I run a line just to help clean up the edges, and then I run an anneal to get that nice black mark like on the other axe that I did. 0.01 line distance, bidirectional, and I run a crosshatch. Any questions? And for sake of time, I'm going to cut this probably in half down to passes for the deep engrave. I'm actually, yeah, I'll leave it at 4. It should run pretty quick. It is. It's in the Lightburn beta feature that was added is to frame just the outside shapes. So you can either run what they call the hull, which is a kind of a general outline of the outside of your artwork, or you could run it with contour, which will follow the exact path of the vector and just do the outside shapes, or you can have it do like EasyCAD would do and frame every shape. All right, let's see. SDQ, if you accidentally forget to turn it off, it doesn't appear that it's affected the annealing. Just from my
I think
experiment.
definitely, especially with like general anneals like this. But when you're really going to want to be careful about that is when you're trying to get specific colors with annealing. It's very, very, very temperature sensitive. So the second you start changing the color of the metal, you're going to start creating more headache for yourself. But I agree with Patrick for this, for like general anneals. I think you're fine.
Yeah, a one-click axe head. I haven't noticed any issues, but I typically turn it off for annealing in general. But I can show you in a little bit more detail what this air assist looks like.
Well, and while he's looking at where to point the camera, what you just saw a minute ago is kind of like the flat tip versus the pointed tip, because I've actually received one of the beta testing units and it's really awesome. And if you were trying to just keep a nice even flow over it, that flat tip is really nice for just keeping a smooth, like soft flow over it for debris and stuff. Pretty good.
So yeah, basically, I'll just show it here on the side. We have our line coming in from the air compressor. That heads to a reducer fitting, which leads into this valve to turn air on and off. It runs in a tube up through this flexible gooseneck so that we can direct it wherever you want. It'll reach all the way across the bed. So you can pretty much direct your airflow anywhere. It's great for smoky stuff, whether leather, leatherette, wood. You can, not only does it reduce flare-ups, but it can also direct that smoke right into your exhaust. It's not filling up the room. Highly beneficial in that Glock polymer that we did last week. That's lots of smoke, and it blew that smoke right into my fume extractor. Wendy, this type of work is allowed in competition axes. I did work on one axe last year that was thrown at the World Axe Throwing League World Championships in Texas back in December. So decorative stuff like that is allowed. That is no problem. So it's pretty cool that one of my axes was thrown at the World Championships. And that was right after, a couple months after, kind of started taking the engraving part of the business even more serious and trying to make it work.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. That's a huge accomplishment.
So with the air assist, I actually have, I can show that on the side while that's running the anneal. So here is, let me take my glasses off the camera. So there's the nozzle that Matt was talking about, the fan type nozzle, and then there's also a straight nozzle, so it just comes to, it's cone shape, kind of comes to a point. And then cool thing about this air assist is, that's why I wasn't using a camera on it, because I was hoping I'd eventually get a chance to show it. Alright, so here I'll just show you. It'll stretch all the way across the bed if needed.
I did just get mine from the office too. It was just delivered. So we'll of course be doing a full laser everything review on Patrick's Air Assist project here. So you guys will get the up close laser everything look at that really soon.
Yeah, I want to make sure it's quality. I don't want it to be, something that's less than excellent.
From what I've seen, dude, it's a game changer. So I'm really excited to tear into it there and take a look at it.
Well, and what's really cool is Patrick made all these pieces, like he 3D printed them himself. And the quality of this stuff coming in, like I just got mine and I've been working with it. I just did 20 brass nameplates with it the other night, and I was able to, as the piece was moving across it, because they were bigger nameplates, and I was able to just move really easily the gooseneck wherever I needed it, as I needed it. Super easy. Set up in about 5 minutes.
Well, here I'll show you the most important thing is this base that will be optional that has that little spot right there. That spot is priceless because you never lose your little stare level again. You just keep it in there and remember to put it
Shout out
back.
to the Stare Club.
Yep.
Dude, mine's here. I sent Patrick a picture, and he's like, "Oh, I spot somebody stare at," and I was like, "Yep."
Where's Kyle? We need Kyle to link. We need Kyle to link the Stare in the description. People want to join the Stare Club.
Yeah.
On it.
So useful.
The best.
Patrick, I have a quick question for you. So Wendy mentioned, do you know if this type of work is allowed on competition axes? And you answered that. But have you ever talked about the hoops you had to jump through in order to be credentialed to work on axes for Waddle? Because I know that you do have a special certification to be able to do this kind of work, and maybe what that process was like, and what other people might have to do before they just run out and start purchasing Waddle axes.
Yeah. This is a Harbor Freight. It's not a Waddle axe.
Oh, right.
But I've done many Waddle axes, and I have a few more to do. But basically, to become a Waddle certified craftsman, you have to go to the website. They have an application that you can download and fill out, or you have to email them and they send you the link. They changed a couple of things recently. And then you submit some pictures of past work you have done and fill out that application. It has your basic info on it, your business info, your website. Then there are some qualifications and some standards that you have to hold yourself to. Go through that process. Then once that's done, then you can use their certified craftsman image and promote yourself as a certified craftsman. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah.
See if I can find the link.
Remember, guys, if you're watching and this is your first time over here, you would be forgiven for not noticing that we are on our second channel, Laser Everything Else. So even if you're already subscribed to the first channel, make sure that you subscribe to this one too, because all of our volunteer staff's episodes that they upload are going to be featured here. A lot of priceless live streams, just like the one you're watching right now. A lot of like fully produced real Laser Everything episodes come up here pretty regularly, and we've got a whole lot more planned for the future. So if you're not already subscribed, go ahead, smash the subscribe button so that you get updated every time that one of our volunteer staff members posts a new episode to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you actually get notified, because you don't want to miss anything that's going to go up here, guys. It's going to be really, really good stuff. So again, second channel, you're on it right now. Just scroll down under that video and smash the subscribe button so that you get notified the next time our volunteer staff uploads an episode, because you really, really don't want to miss the stuff these guys are putting out. It's great information.
All right, I'm posting the certified craftsman link in the chat. And actually, that Mark Hilt Designs that's at the very top of that link, I just sent a couple axe heads to him in Texas. Those were the breast cancer axe heads that I'd posted. So he makes amazing handles, and he's going to put handles on those two axe heads, and they're going to look amazing.
I know that you love doing the axe heads on the fiber, Patrick. Can we look forward to some handle stuff in the future from you as well on CO2 or diode?
Yes, I'm absolutely going to be doing handles, probably on the CO2 first. But I do have that planned. I have planned, which my wife is helping design it, but it's a West Virginia themed axe that we're hoping to enter in the Waddle Craftsman Awards this year. And
Mm.
that handle is going to be hopefully pretty intricate and look good just from running the CO2 around it. But yes, that will be coming up soon. And then I'll probably just do
Yeah,
some example
absolutely.
stuff in the meantime. Let's see. Well,
Hmm.
I have one, but I think it might be in the other room. I could grab it real quick. It's not like this meal's going to finish anytime soon.
Is
Yeah,
that
go for it.
with the 45-degree angle engrave? That was such a cool one.
Let's see here.
Yeah, and to go back to what said, there's some really cool stuff on the Laser Everything Else channel. Like, I'm really excited to go back and watch another one of Patrick's videos because I just ordered an 800 millimeter tower,
Hmm.
and so I'm like getting ready. Gonna have to install that thing soon, and
Yeah,
then
Patrick's got the whole guide on that tower swap.
oh, dude, it's awesome. And that's the great thing. I literally ordered it with like all the confidence in the world because I'm like, okay, this will be no problem. Boom.
Yeah, and then once it's installed, you can check out our episode on the main Laser Everything channel for that Project Mark Essentials video. Is a really good one. I was really happy with the way that it came out, and it really shows you how to take advantage of that extra height.
Yep, I was able to do. I know using the Project Mark video that you just talked about, I was able to knock out a cup in like a minute and a half not too long ago.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, dude, it's such a worthwhile investment to go ahead and be able to prop it up to where you need to do and get that height so you can have some placement with cups and tumblers and whatever you got. So I'm really excited.
So, do anybody does anybody that's in the chat have the USB microscopes? Anyone? Anyone? I know HTL Holsters does.
I know I do.
So, if you were wondering on this air assist, what the little piece here is for, ball and socket joints. So, have some ball and socket joints. And the kit's going to ship with 3 different sizes. So here's a ball and socket joint, and then here's a ball that has a, it's hard to do on camera. Let me just do this. So, as you can see, the ball and socket will come with a camera mount. And so it will connect right into your ball and socket, and it's got a tripod screw right there, so you can set a camera on there and use it to film videos. Had I not been wanting to show this on video, I would have been using it to hold the camera for the video. And then another piece we have is, let's see, so pop that off of there. And we have the ball and socket joint. I also have this piece. So that is a clamp. That will hold. Tested with a 30, I think it's 30 millimeter diameter. So the 30 millimeter diameter USB microscope.
Look at this.
Sorry, I got my laser glasses on and I can't see it start. There. So there. It just has
Like a
has the ridge here that fits in the channel on the microscope, and it just pops right in there, and it'll hold it for you. So then you can just move this wherever you want to. And use it to take a look at your workpiece.
What's cool about all the pieces that you made is they're really rigid. Like they've got stiffness to them to like make sure they're not moving around and being, just all over the place. But they're so easy to move. It's really, really useful, man.
Yeah, and the gooseneck, it'll support a good amount of weight, so you don't have to worry about your camera really being too heavy. Let's see here. We found that camera ball again. Let's see, here's a camera I'm not using at the moment. It has magnets on the bottom, but yeah, it doesn't have any issues staying in place. That's an extra Lightburn camera that I have that I use just for filming videos. Well, the first pass of the anneal is almost finished.
Rip, first pass.
Yeah.
Hey man, you can't rush art.
Yeah, I was about to say. And then American Ordnance Works just asked, is there a project mark option in the Lightburn Galvo beta?
Yeah, I can show you. But
Yeah, a very good one at that.
All right, Alex, I'm going to follow up on what you were asking.
Yep.
So there's some handle work with the CO2.
Yeah, a future episode perhaps.
That's so bad.
Gorgeous, man.
Yeah, and that's in there pretty dark. I actually used a crosshatch on that with the CO2.
That was
I bet
really,
it feels pretty good in the hand too.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's definitely has some texture to it.
so humble. Yeah, it's not bad. Badass, dude.
I don't like to brag.
Yeah, you don't have to, man. Your work does it for itself.
That's what I was
Good.
going to say. It'll speak for itself. Either it's good or it's crap, and I don't need to tell people. They'll decide and make up their own mind.
Yep.
Okay, back to who's that? American Ordnance Works question
Yep.
about
Project mark.
Project mark.
Good questions tonight, by the way, guys. Like literally
Right.
all four through.
Put that back over there. Can you tell on the camera image, especially the one on the left, which is the powder coat, which is the laser mark?
Oh, weird. It's like opposite.
Yeah.
Who would have thought the laser mark would have actually been darker than the powder coat? Is that light right overhead, so it's probably making it seem a little lighter. That's funny. It looks like it's getting lighter, but it's not. It's actually getting darker. It's just all on the light.
That's crazy.
Because you can see in the camera on the left that it's actually not lighter.
Yeah.
All right, I'll hop back over to Lightburn here. So within Lightburn, under laser tools, I will show you, that's where you would typically find rotary. They also have a new feature called cylinder correction, which is similar to project mark. With cylinder correction, you can do either a convex or a concave surface, and it will correct for either option. So here is where you would enable it, and then you set where you want it to correct, so along the X or the Y, depending on how your objects is oriented on your bed. And then you can select either convex or concave, depending on whether you have object similar to a spoon or an object similar to a tumbler. So you have both options. Anybody else have anything to add there? I have used it for tumblers and it works very well. There's that Craftsman page that we were talking about earlier. They're signed up. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 at the moment. Now I'm going to pull up the picture of the axe that I'd posted in those Facebook groups. And show everybody in case you didn't see that.
Um, Ordnance Works just asked, how about a ring? Would that work with a ring?
Rotary works with rings, whether it be inside or outside of rings. Which I know somebody has something in the works regarding rings.
Yep. I think he might be AFK right now, but when he gets back, it's a great video coming out.
I was muted because I'm an idiot. Yeah, we've been working really hard on a ring rotary video, so we'll be having that out for you guys very, very soon. That'll be the next big upload on the main Laser Everything channel, so definitely keep an eye out for it, because took a lot to get there, but we got there. We got everything figured out, and I think I've got a fairly straightforward way to explain it, so I'm excited to share that with you guys. Should be soon.
Literally bought like a dozen rings because I'm excited. Like, I don't know, the more and more I see stuff on our channel, it's just so much fun to like go do it. Like, so great. Finally gonna use my rotary.
Let's see. Yeah, that there's the axe head that, or the axe that was thrown in the World Championships back in December.
That's so cool. I remember you making that one. So, do you make some of the axe heads like you make the head and then ship it down to somebody who does custom handles or something, or makes better handles, or how does that work?
Yeah,
You got a guy for
I've had axe heads shipped to me without handles. I engrave them and then ship them back, and then the folks add their own custom handles, especially since the people that specify
yeah,
in making handle or specialize in making handles.
that's a whole nother crafts right there. Craftsman skill.
Oh yeah, awesome stuff.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay, here's the axe that we're trying to mimic. So you notice it's the same flag, same deep engraving. I think that was what Matt was talking about earlier. Engraving on the back of the axe head here. And I use just a cheap drill press vise to hold those vertical and level. So that's what we were going for, and I think we're going to achieve that result. This is a money shot of that axe head. Then you can get into messing with your vectors and your different cut layers and doing collars. Even with a non-MOPA, if you wanted to do a silver and black combo with a anneal and a lighter engrave, then with your silver or white, make sure you put a clear coat on. But I did that one in 2 different layers and had one deeper than the next. Let's see, I'll show you another tone before that finishes up. So the one axe head there, the top one is a Waddle Ace of Spades, and that Mark Hilt design had polished it and sent it to me and had a couple things he wanted engraved on it. Then the bottom one is one that I donated. Donated the axe head and the engraving, and he's going to put handles on those. One will go to the owner, the other will be auctioned off for charity. There's more of the two-tone. He did a nice job polishing that axe head. It looked really good. On this one I decided to do two-tone and left the silver with the black inside just to give it some contrast. Since it wasn't polished, wasn't worried about taking away from the polished axe head's appearance.
Microscopic pores for moisture to sit in. So a good, clean, finished anneal should be nice and smooth. You shouldn't actually be continuing to ablate the metal once you're annealing. Any kind of shine, any kind of color is a good sign that you're getting a proper anneal. But the whole idea is that we're simply heating the metal to the point where we're changing the color and smoothing out those ridges, not necessarily removing more material or continuing to remove material if we started by getting depth first. So but the main difference there is that we're not ablating, right? So we'd have an ablation mark and then an anneal mark to finish that up, which by itself is not foolproof for resisting corrosion, by the way. Sometimes it is, but usually it's not, especially if you did ablation before your anneal and you're annealing after. It can be great on things like knives if you anneal and don't do anything else. Then you don't really have to worry about rust because we're just changing the color of the metal on the surface. But once you start to mess with the integrity of the surface of the metal by ablating or removing coatings or whatever else with your fiber laser, you do need to follow up with some other kind of protective measures to make sure that you don't have a rust problem. But that's the main difference. Sorry, I kind of went off on a rant there.
Yeah. Think of annealing as making it rust resistant, not rust proof.
Yeah. Plus, it looks cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, I wanted to mention, if you are out of range on your frequency, you can defocus. The only thing that raising the frequency does is make your pulses less powerful every time you pulse the laser. You can replicate that by defocusing or using a larger lens. So by enlarging that dot size, you can get a similar effect to raising your frequency. It's not one-to-one. They're not the same thing, but if you're trying to anneal and you don't quite have the range to just use the frequency, which is kind of a cheat, it's kind of a shortcut, defocus your laser or use a very large lens, something like a 300 millimeter lens, to get that super big dot size, and you'll still be able to heat the metal without ablating it. That's the trick, is that we want to heat the metal up without removing material when we're ablating, or annealing, excuse me. So again, if you don't have the frequency range, if you're stuck on like a Rakis with 30 to 60 kilohertz, try defocusing and raising that dot size, because that will allow you to do anneal type effects, and it's just as valid.
So
Now, this anneal looks wet. That's how I know I've got a really good anneal and a really nice dark mark, is from certain angles you'll see that it actually looks like it's wet. And that's obviously no oil on it, and it's fresh off the laser.
So nice.
very cool, dude.
Looks really great.
Now, here's something interesting. I thought this blue would rust, but it was enough of an anneal to keep it rust resistant, and it's been like this for quite a while. And this is a non-MOPA that I found in the blue setting. Actually, you
It's really nice.
kind of a little rust where the powder coat's there a little bit, but
So I got a question for you. I've got an axe, and Wendy was just talking about it too. So the one you have has a powder coat on it, but I picked up one at Lowe's, really cool. That it definitely has some kind of a coating on it. Have you ever run into like clear coat or something that people put on there, like it's got some kind of lacquer finish or something on it? And then how do you deal with that?
yes, that happens quite a bit. I'm trying to get a close-up there.
Ooh, that is so cool, dude.
It's hard to, kind of hard to tell which was actually the engraved part. Well, the engraved is the nice, smooth area. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Most axes do come with clear coat on them, some sort of urethane already.
Right.
I have found the easiest way to remove it, especially if you're going to do a full engrave, is use the laser. Just run a light pass to kind of melt it. Think of it like glue on a sticker, and you use a heat gun to heat it up, and the glue comes off easier.
Okay.
Kind of use your laser to heat it up, and it can help it flake off. Or if that doesn't work, just go with more power and blast it away.
If you want to be a savage like Alex, you can give it an acetone bath.
Oh my god.
It works.
It's awesome.
I just use the laser. Let's see, I have one here handy.
That acetone would rip right through, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, the trick is not to dunk it. You set it up on a couple wood blocks and let the fumes do the work for you. An hour in a little 5-gallon bucket or something makes quick work of it.
There's an axe head that was all nasty and rusty, and I just used the laser to basically clean it, and then ran basically my cleaning setting, and it's just set there like that for months and hasn't picked up any rust yet. A little bit, but not near like it was. It was in really bad shape.
Cleaning's becoming very popular now.
That's pretty badass.
Let's see. Any other questions?
Nathan had just mentioned he wants to use all of Alex's settings that he's got, but he's got a 50 watt, and he didn't know how to, I guess, convert them. And I was mentioning to him that on the LMA, they've actually got a conversion table there where you just plug everything into it. So I'm gonna try to find the link for you.
Make sure if you go through that too, that so when you're in the LMA and you download it, open it in either Google Sheets or like Excel, and then you'll be able to actually edit and put it in. A lot of people just open it like a PDF in Chrome, and you can't edit it there.
Yeah, and one of the great things too, like when you actually do get to lasereverything.net, right when you get there on the homepage, it literally has like a how do you install the parameter library, all that kind of stuff that'll help you get going there too. So it's literally like 5 different ways you can find how to do that just by looking at the homepage carefully.
I'm going to do some 3-in-1 oil and then just clean all the little bit of leftover residue. If I run the air assist, there's really not, for that amount of engraving, that's all the residue that's coming off of that. And you would think that there would be way more.
Is that one of those polyester napkins?
No, this is what's it called? Magic eraser. But it's just in the sheet.
Yep.
The sheet form.
Yeah, that works great. Polyester napkins work great. I just always try to remind you don't want to use something like a microfiber cloth on this because it's going to shred into a billion tiny little pieces that you're never going to be able to get off.
Okay. So yeah, all that engraving, all that powder coat, and that's the only residue we have coming off of there. Let me see, let me get this closer. All right. Sure there's plenty of light on it. I don't want to hide anything. So there's live results of a full axe head engraving.
Great job, man. Seriously.
God, that looks so good.
Yep, it's just like a picture. I said that was the goal. It looks like we achieved that. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to find us on Discord, the Laser Everything Discord, and ask your question there, or join the Laser Academy and ask questions there. Get Alex's settings, and I'll let Alex do his outro.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. If you guys enjoyed hanging out with Patrick tonight, if you guys learned something, first of all, smash the like button. Let everybody else know the content is good. And don't forget to subscribe. This is the second channel, Laser Everything Else. So I'm betting most of you are not subscribed. So subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time Patrick or one of our other volunteer staff members goes live. They sure do appreciate your support. Also, as Patrick just mentioned, we do have the Discord and our Facebook group available. Links are down in the description. Both absolutely free. Great communities. Great place to get support. And of course, if you like the channel and you want to see us continue uploading videos and content, I highly recommend you go check out the Laser Master Academy. It's the #1 way to support the channel. Make sure we can keep doing what we do. And we got a bunch of bonus goodies over there for signing up. You get access to bonus episodes of the podcast. We've got bonus LMA only live streams. We've got our parameter library. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff going on over there. And it's just another great community for you to bounce things off of. Really, really great people over there too. I think we are just about at 1,800 members now, which is insane. So if you want to join those ranks and help support the show, go check it out. Again, it's masters.lasereverything.net. And I think that's all I've got.
Anybody else have
Plug
anything?
your list real quick, Patrick. I mean, you just put all the effort into this.
Let's see. Lightsource.pro is the website for the business. You'll find the air assist kit available on my website soon, and then it will be on the Laser Everything Marketplace as soon as it is live and up and running.
Soon, TM.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Soon. Yeah, I think that's really all that I have for now.
All right, sweet.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Sorry about the microphone issues. I think we got that squared away, hopefully. But tune in probably next Wednesday. I'll try to do another live stream and try to make it a weekly Wednesday live stream to help everybody out. Not everything's going to be as exciting as an axe or a polymer frame, but try to pick something that maybe everybody can learn at least a thing or two. But good night.
See you in the next one, guys. Thank you.
Splice Originals.